Hello, I'm Oladapo-Kuku. A whole lot of people would know me as a radio presenter, but the path has changed. I am now a life coach, an author, a mental health advocate, and a life coach. Okay, so what are we talking about here? I'm talking about my book, Living Mindfully, A Journey to Being. And this little memoir, it is not full of it. It's a little memoir that shares, I use some stories from my life to share how you can live noiselessly in a very noisy world. And the reason I wrote this book was just trying to navigate a very heartbreaking, at the time, now it's empowering, but at the time it was very heartbreaking diagnosis, a mental health question. I was diagnosed as living with bipolar affective disorder. And through this was in 2015. And through that journey, I was able to, well, observe and see how I was able to overcome. Did I overcome it? Maybe. Am I overcoming it? Yes, I'm navigating it. And that is why I've written this book. My favorite part of this book will be my journey to awareness. And it happened, I'll read it now, but let me give a background to what happened. That particular day, I didn't drive to work. I was still in radio. And on my way to work, just around the junction that links to my office, I see two people. And these people basically started me on the journey to living mindfully. So the chapter of the book says, My Journey to Awareness. So on my way out one morning, I saw two things that caught my attention. One was a man who looked like someone who had suffered from a psychotic breakdown, walking down the road with a green polythene bag hung on his back. His eyes looked alive and he had a smile. Normally, if one saw these kinds of people, they are very heartbreaking, displaying such an attitude that debases their humanity. But no, this person looked calm with a smile plastered on his face. Even when he lost a step, the smile remained. He staggered as he looked at his feet, rearranged his bag, and the smile became a smirk, as if saying, You this ground, you want me to fall, but you won't get the best of me. His hair was unkempt. His white shirt had two colors, and the black pants was short. It was designed to be long, but short for him. I honestly was expecting some sort of erratic display, as we see in the movies. To give you a background to this, if you're not familiar with how people with seemingly mental health issues are depicted in Nollywood, that is the Nigerian movie industry, they are usually speaking to themselves, acting out, and being downright scary that you want to stay out of the way. He disappointed me, as his smile defied my expectation and his eyes were quite engaging. The second thing I saw was also a man. Just by the white junction that linked to a major intersection, he stood by the curb, waiting to cross to the other side of the road. And just when the traffic situation came to a halt for him to cross, he also lost a step and fell. He got up, and the look on his face is one of rage. I almost felt pity for the ground on which he fell. He stood up and stomped on the curb, looked at it one more time with so much anger, hissed, then crossed to the other side. Okay, I know what you're thinking, Tumiche. How did you see all of this in a matter of minutes? It all boils down to the fact that I am always looking for things to write, so my sense of observation are always heightened. And that's what started, I would say, my journey to being. Because that day, I looked at and I was like, okay, so these are two people. One person who is obviously with the senses, but could shoulder quite literally life's challenges, as you heard with him hitting his leg. And the other guy who was looking so smart. And it came to me, why do we do the things that we do? What are the questions that I needed to answer? Again, it was on the heels of my diagnosis. So I went to the office that day and I was like, okay, what's going on? And I wrote the story down. I never knew it was going to be part of what would become Living Mindfully, a journey to being. So, in this book, you have chapters that talk about stopping the monkey mind. The other part of this book that I enjoy so much is the ego. The ego is one that we almost always say, don't kill the ego, do that to the ego, and all of that. And during the research for this book, I looked at the dictionary meaning of the ego. And it just says quite basically that it is the place that carries who I am. So, and then I continued to research until I found this particular writer who wrote about the ego. So, so right now, let me take an excerpt from Faith and Consciousness, my belief system. Faith is a great part of my existence, and the energy that flows from it is quite surreal. Yet, it is not something I willingly do. It is something I allow my consciousness bring to the front burner of my mind. I am one of those people who never really had an issue believing in a higher power, especially through Jesus. I, however, was curious enough to be familiar with other forms of belief systems. Why? I can't really say. I just needed to understand why we believed, how we believed, and what shapes that for us. It is very difficult for most minds to understand the concept of a bigger phenomenon to believe in, but it really has never been a challenge for me because experiences early in life made me know there had to be someone or something that was fueling my existence. Disappointments came in so early in my life. I was 6 years when I realized that even my parents were powerless in the face of how dark the mind of the human being could be. The options open to me were few: acknowledge and bury, acknowledge, get angry and bury, acknowledge and pretend the child does not understand. Of all the options, none really truly addressed or solved the problems. As a child, I would sit in a corner and cry in the hope that the God I was taught to pray through and to listen to would listen and heal. And I can say, yes, he listened. That healing is still ongoing. For me, faith became the only crutch that I could reliably lean on without a fear of being judged. And that leads me to one other reason we fear to believe. All right, so, and that's just a bit of how I came about living mindfully, a journey to being. If that story or the stories resonates with you, get a copy. But I'll leave you with these words. It is not about perfection. It's about showing up. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love this country. Above all of this, love God is the essence of your being. I am Oladapo-Kuku.
Well, we've been tracking the story of Angel Osariamen. Angel has been trying to break the Guinness Book of World Record for marathon reading. Did I say has been trying to break? Well, she has broken the record, the Guinness Book of World Record for marathon reading. So next time somebody asks you, in the history of mankind, who has sat down somewhere or stood up somewhere to read books the longest? Well, she's a Nigerian. She's from Edo State. She's a young lady. She's done it. She's read over 200 hours. 200 hours, over 200 hours, just reading. So well done there, Angel. This record is subject to ratification by the Guinness Book of World Record. That will come definitely because she cracked it and people are so excited for her. And she's using this to promote the reading culture in Edo State, in Nigeria as a whole. We'll be bringing Angel here and talking to her about her experience very soon. So you may want to look out for that. Congratulations, Angel. Well done. And to every young person out there trying to do something great to promote the reading culture, keep flying and let the likes of Angel inspire you to keep doing what you're doing. Well done. This is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.